Yeah, we are again the No Pants Winnie the Pooh Risky Business podcast.
We're not wearing pants.
That one got a lot of views.
Perverts.
Yeah, just a bunch of perverts. That's exactly what they are.
Either that or they just really support Winnie the Pooh.
Nobody else called it Winnie the Pooh but me. So, I mean, and we had people that literally asked if...
Oh, right, the Patreon
if there
version.
If there was a Patreon tier where the no pants were shown. Which
welcome to the Naked Podcast. We considered doing this in the bathtub.
We did
just a second ago.
Yeah, we just got done having a bath.
Yeah,
and so that was definitely a consideration. But welcome everybody. My name is Sir Prussian Fire. This is my slave Lucky Fire. Welcome to the Empower Dynamic. It's a podcast focused around, well, kind of like what's going on in life and also on relationships, specifically those with power dynamics, whether they be DS, MS.
Okay,
DLG,
so let's clarify before we move forward. All relationships have power dynamics.
Okay, that's fair. Yes.
This is focused around consensual, negotiated,
power dynamics,
enthusiastic power dynamics.
Yes, that's fair.
Because all relationships have power dynamics.
Absolutely.
If you do not think that we are not in a power dynamic with our children, you are sorely fucking mistaken.
Yeah. If you don't think you're in a power dynamic with
and
your
I
partner.
am not always the top.
Yeah. No, that is absolutely a thing.
Or your boss.
Or your boss, like freaking government.
Yeah. Like
all of it. You're in a power dynamic all the time. So,
yep.
Yes, we'll go with the consensual.
Yes,
Enthusiastic,
consensual, and negotiated power dynamics, such as master slave, dominant submissive, daddy girl,
and the list goes on and on and on.
Mommy dom, like whatever floats your boat, pup handler, you know, any of those sort of negotiated BDSM focused relationship dynamics.
Yes,
that is what this podcast is about.
Correct.
However, we will also talk about the non-consensual power dynamics that we are in with our bosses and children and the government.
Yes, absolutely. If we would love to hear from you, if you would please make sure you hit subscribe, like, heart, share, all the things on the left, right?
Yes, as we said, from the bottom up.
Yes. Make sure you hit all those things.
I'm sorry. I have a. There we go.
There we go. Show a little bit of cleavage, baby. Yeah.
The bottom up. You missed it. The bottom up.
There you go. Yeah.
I do give consent for whoever wants to edit this video and slow that down for the titty drop.
AI has been doing a lot of that lately, so they might.
The titty drop? All right. Well, I don't know if I consent to AI doing it.
Hey.
I want a human that's going to sit down and appreciate the velocity of my breasts.
Me.
Sure.
Okay.
You don't have to sit down, though. Yours is like a standing ovation at the velocity of my breasts.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not inaccurate. We do also have an email address. Where is it going to pop up?
On your new glasses.
Oh, on my new glasses.
Right here.
Yes. Our email is now across my new glasses. It is theempowerdynamic@gmail.com. So, double E, double D.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, double E and double D's. Yes. There's a joke there somewhere.
Where's double E?
The and empowered.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the empowered dynamic, right? Yeah. It's not empowered dynamic. It's the empowered dynamic. You're right. Okay. Yes. Double E, double D.
Double E, double D.
I feel like that's like a double Dutch song.
So all it makes me think of is the Garth Brooks song "Beer Run." BEERRUN.
Beer Run.
I'm not from East Texas.
I am not from East Texas. You've just indoctrinated me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So what we're going to be covering today, we actually have somewhat of a professional outline.
I demand an outline. I'm his slave, and I'm also a slave to the outline.
You are a slave to the outline. So
it's like, where's Locrian when I need him?
Yeah. So we're going to start out with some comments from y'all and kind of addressing some of those that we thought were worth addressing.
I don't know if I would say that. All comments are worth addressing. We will try to reply to all comments. So thank you so much for commenting.
Yes, but I mean,
even if you just said hello,
had more of a question in them.
Yeah, no. If you have a question, we will absolutely address that here on this podcast.
And
But
if you send me an email, I am going to read it.
Make sure it's uncomfortable.
Yes, I'm going to read it out loud.
Actually, that's my challenge to the internet. Please try to make my sir uncomfortable via email.
Yes. So let's read this one. I have an email.
Oh.
Yes.
The subject line is "I love you."
It's not for me. I love you, and it's not for you.
It's not for me.
Actually, it is. You both are amazing, and what you're both doing is also amazing. Keep up the good work. It may be hard sometimes. I'm glad you're all doing it. Much love, Kit.
Oh.
So, thank you.
Kit is
Mermaid.
Kit is a dear friend of ours here in the Houston area. Yep. She's been in the community and has been my friend for many many years. Yes. And you got introduced to her due to me in the last several years. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So one of those questions that
thank you for your email, Kit,
was it was to one of our TikToks, and it was speaking of the rule that we have. The no inside thoughts rule.
The no inside thoughts rule.
Yes.
I think that's the only rule we've talked about so far. We have several rules, but that's one of them.
But the response to it was, if speaking up about feelings is what pleases the top/dom, it makes the bottom/sub feel like they are following instructions. You guys rock. It's not just that; it also provides security for you especially after it's been proven.
So I think there wasn't a question here, but I'm going to answer the question that wasn't asked. Is like, why does this serve me, right? Because like that's what why does it serve us? So like that's what all sort of, in my opinion, power exchange relationship should be focused on, is things that serve at least one person in the relationship, the other person, or preferably both people, but like doesn't have to serve. Doesn't have to serve both. Yeah. I think that's a common misconception.
Yeah.
But for me, it sets me up for success in the sense that I am able and required to be authentic and open and honest with you, even when it's difficult. Yes. Even like I am allowed inside thoughts in the capacity of like, I have not processed this enough and I need to like work on it before I can talk about it, but I still have to communicate that. I can't just like sit there and stew. Yeah. Right? Because I am someone that will spiral.
You will spiral the hell out.
And my like little brain weasels, I have really bad anxious attachment, and like they are really, really like the worst kind of people. And they will find ways to solidify every single lie that my brain is telling me.
Yeah.
They will tell me he doesn't care about you. He has no value. You are replaceable to him. Like all of these sort of like very big lies that I feel like, all of our brains tell ourselves. My brain is really great at picking up on pattern recognition. And so it will specifically look for the things to be like, yep, we're solidified in that. That's the fact now. So I have to voice the opinions of, hey, I'm feeling really not valued right now. It's like I'm feeling triggered about something. Like you didn't really do anything necessarily. Like nothing you did was wrong. But like I have something that I need to think through and work through before I can bring it to you. Yeah. But then I have to bring it to you. Yes. Once I've worked through it.
And that's at least at the beginning, that was like the hardest part, right? We had to set it up in stages to where that you got comfortable with that. Me being military, it was very easy for me because I come from that structured background of bottom line up front, or in other words, bluff, of here's the problem. Here's what you did. Here's how you screwed it up. This is how we fix it. And it's done. Right?
Like, yeah, that would be great if that's how conversations actually worked.
But that's how they work in the military. And so whenever you are in it and it continues on, like, that's also the same thing in the MC culture too, because that's where it came from.
No, I understand
the aspect of it being is that once it has been addressed, it is done unless it continues.
Yes, again, pattern recognition.
Yeah, it's the pattern recognition. So, like, that's how I address issues with you, right? And I told you I wanted you to do that as well, but you were very open and honest that you could not do that. And so we set it up to where that I continued to do that, and then we had the monthly airing of grievances.
Yes.
Where you would come with bullet points and I'd be like,
and
no,
receipts.
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
I would be like, excuse me, on this date at this
Yes,
time, this
yes.
is the text message that you sent, and that is the thing that I am upset about.
Yes, exactly.
And you're like, you've been upset about that for like 2 weeks? And like, yes.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
You're like, I don't even remember what we were talking about. I'm like, I do. It's right here.
I'm not mad about it at all. Like it was all fine. But once I modeled that behavior for you, it made it a lot
took
more
probably,
easier.
I would say,
3 to 6.
yeah, I would say it took about 3 months for me to start recognizing what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me about 6 months to like accept what was happening.
Yeah,
Because like I thought that you were just lying.
I distinctly remember one of them. It's pretty much every single one where you'd be going through your list and be like, "Do you have anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm good."
He still never has anything. Like I still come to him and like he's very much.
Yeah,
I'm upset about it.
Things, yeah.
Huh?
Sometimes you approach things in a bullet point list.
No, it's not that. It's like I'm very much someone that like if I feel like that something is a pattern or something could become a pattern or something really, really bothers me enough. Because like I am someone that for the most part, I recognize that there's like no perfect partner.
Yeah.
Right. I recognize that there are a lot of things that you do that irritate the shit out of me.
Yes.
And I do a lot of things that irritate the shit out of you.
Yes. Where's your phone?
However, huh?
Where's your phone?
Right here.
Okay, good.
I just had it. I had to look up the fake questions.
Okay.
I don't know what was
But
happening.
that's like one of the things.
Yes. But,
Where's your watch?
Oh, that I haven't seen in months.
Uh-huh.
About 7.
Are your AirPods actually in the AirPod case?
They are
Good. Where's your AirPod case?
on the charger.
Okay.
I just put it there. So if it's moved, it wasn't me because I took a bath. Anyways,
But those are the things that drive me nuts.
yes.
Just as an example.
Yes, but I don't like it drives me nuts that you leave like Pepsi cans everywhere, right? But that is not like a relationship ending situation. It is something that is going to
annoyance.
irritate me and annoy me,
Forever. Yes.
but I don't really address it, right? I don't like get upset at you and like I'll make funny jokes like that you're my little trash panda and you live in your little trash hole because you've got like and I'm like picking up cans and I'm like, okay, I can see these are empty because they're plastic, but like this one I can't
can,
see if it's empty. Are you still drinking this? And you're like, no, that's from yesterday. And it's just like, then why is it on this desk?
And it's empty too.
And it's empty, but I can't see it. So anyways, I go after him and I pick up his little trash pile.
I've gotten really good about not having it in anywhere else in the house but my office.
And the side table by the couch.
No, I've kept that pretty clean.
Since we've gotten the tray, yes.
I've kept
And
it
also
pretty
the
good.
side table by the bed. You
Even
tend to leave
there,
all
I
of the
have like
things
2
there.
or 3, but I don't like stack them like I used to.
No. I thought that I was going to build like a house of cards. So I actually made a joke to myself in the beginning of our relationship. You were like at work or something and I was at your house. I think it was a weekend. And I was at your house and I literally started like stacking. I started
Were you
building a
wizard
house.
staffing?
No, I was building a house of cards
Out of cans.
out of cans because, you know, the funny joke is like that relationships are just a house of cards waiting to come down.
Yeah.
Right. And so I literally built a stack of cans and then I pushed it over and I was like, no, this is not irritating enough to end our relationship over.
Hey, whatever works.
And then I decided I wasn't going to address it anymore.
Yeah.
I was just going to pick it up.
You do address it occasionally, but it's not. It's like, hey, will you help me? Or
Yeah,
it's
it's
just the
like I don't-
exasperated side.
Yeah, it's like a
Which is the same thing that I do about your phone. Like,
Exactly.
To this point, it's just gotten to an exasperated side.
exactly. So at this point in our relationship, really the only things that I bring up are like, hey, if this is a pattern that continues, this is the thing that will end our relationship.
Yeah.
Because that to me is worth addressing.
Absolutely.
Right? Like your
Or at
cans, while
least-
irritating, are not things that are worth addressing.
Or at least like if it's a minor inconvenience type situation, but you're like, I'm not sure why the hell they're doing this all of a sudden type situation. I do the same thing with you. Whenever some new pattern starts, like generally we let
Yeah.
it go for a little bit, and then we're like, okay, what's up?
Yeah.
Why? I need to understand the why here. Like your most recent was, you are absolutely gorgeous, and I love you to pieces. And I have never been you need to do makeup or anything like that. For over 3 years, you have not done any of that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, body powders and foundations and lip stains and and all sorts of stuff just starts showing up, and I'm like, what is this? Why is this happening? And I left it alone for a while.
I'm almost 30 at this point. I'm going through my quarter life crisis.
Okay,
as
fine.
Tris said.
It's perfectly fine, but that's
as Bird said.
But that's just an example of how how we bring up, like, whenever something's going on, and we're like, this could be annoying.
Yeah,
why
but
is this happening?
Yes, but like I would say that it's different in the sense of like we bring it up and we're like, hey, are you okay? Like something has changed. It's like a concern.
Yes.
For you
And wanting to understand why.
Yes, not a concern for
Our
us.
relation, correct?
Right.
Yes, yeah. We're just wanting to have more understanding.
Versus like the only things at this point that I have like anything that I like bring up on a regular basis are things that I'm like, this is the thing. Like this is the thing that consistently makes me feel X.
Yeah.
And if this doesn't change, I don't want to feel X 20 years from now.
No, that's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
But you've given me the safety to be able to address the little things where, like, if I do sigh at your little trash pile, you're not going to fly off the handle at me. No. Whereas, like, other relationships that I have been in, they would hear that sigh and they would feel like I was judging the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, they would blow up at me.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It was like I couldn't address, like, little itty-bitty things. So I really couldn't address really, really big things.
Absolutely.
Because they would like hijack the situation. And so, yeah, it took me about, I would say 6 months for me to start believing that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next comment. This one was in response to the I love you and why thing. We talked about how some people feel that is, especially if they're anxious, they find that as like, oh my God, I have to list all the ways that I love them type situation. And this person commented that you make me feel safe and like I can be myself around you is my usual go-to. I'm like, okay. How that responded to me, because I also put like a laughing face with it. I replied with, I was like, it's funny how we get into those patterns.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Don't get into those patterns. You need to... Because otherwise, it just becomes "I love you," and it doesn't have the same meaning.
Well, I wouldn't even say that it doesn't have the same meaning. So what I would say is that the reason why we, and I say we as the collective community of BDSM people,
yes,
the reason why we gravitate toward these relationship styles is because they are intentional.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They're intentional. They're negotiated. They are significantly safer, like in a lot of ways than like out of the box vanilla relationships. I have never felt safe in a vanilla relationship because I feel like I'm consistently failing. Right. And so if somebody always said to me the same answer of, you make me feel safe to be around you, like how, like that gives me more questions. Like, how am I making you feel safe right now?
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's, if it does that, cool.
Yeah.
Because then you're having the
exactly, but
conversations,
it's like I'm gonna, because of the fact that I'm a lifestyler, right? It's like I'm gonna pull the intentionality out of someone.
Absolutely.
And literally, I did this last night when we were at dinner.
Yeah, we'll talk about them later. Yeah.
Yes, we went to dinner with some friends that we really enjoyed, and her top said, "She's such a pain in my ass," and he meant it in like a loving, endearing way.
Yeah.
And I saw her like shirk back.
Yes.
And instead of ignoring the shirk, like a lot of people would, I was like, you just did something and I would like to talk about it.
Yeah. Why did you do that?
Why did you behave that way?
Yeah.
Because there's a conversation that needs to happen here that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And like, he may, like, you're saying the same thing, but you're not on the same conversation.
Correct. You're not. So. You may be on the same page, or you're at least in the same book, but you're not on the same page. Or
same line, same letter. Yeah, exactly. So, like, for me, it's the intentionality of like, is it sometimes taxing to say I love you and then have someone go, why? Sometimes, it's like, absolutely. Oh crap, I don't have a reason, but like now I need to find a reason.
I need it. Yeah.
Right.
At first, that's going to be the struggle. Absolutely. It's not something that this is habit forming. Okay. Yeah.
But we also don't say why all the time.
We don't say why all the time, but it's
I think
also
we say it less
forming,
now actually than we used to.
Yeah. But it's habit forming, which means that it takes practice. Yes. It takes practice to be able to not default to the I love you as a filler or the why do you love me? List all the ways, right?
It takes practice to be intentional.
It does. And so
because that's not what life tells us to be.
Practicing it, and especially if you're agreeing to practice on it, is going to make it a lot better.
Yes. And also like it will if you have to like check yourself of like I don't have an answer, then why did you say it?
Why did you say it? Yeah.
Right? It's like you are using it as a filler and you didn't even realize you were using it as a filler. And like I think that happened to us in like the very beginning because it was like I don't have a reason.
I know it happened with you.
Yeah.
Because I was the one who introduced the why concept to you.
Yeah.
So that was absolutely a thing that.
So I encourage you,
Yeah.
commenter, instead of having a default, start telling your partner actually why you said it. Yeah. I guarantee you it will deepen connection that you have.
Exactly.
It's going to be uncomfortable at first, but
Extremely.
We as a society need to be more comfortable being uncomfortable. That's where we've gotten to be.
I love you.
Why?
Because you used my life motto.
It's not your life motto.
Well,
it's our it's our MS tenet.
It's our MS tenet, but it's like my life motto. Is be comfortable being uncomfortable. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. Something like that. Makes it easy. In that moment, I said I love you because of that. So, all right. That was pretty much all those. So yes, if y'all do have any questions, advice, anything like that you're wanting, take everything that we say with a grain of salt and take what I like using the phrase of take what you want, leave the rest.
Someone else will pick it up.
Absolutely. This is just general advice. If it works for you, by all means use it. If it doesn't, put it down. You're not a requirement to be in our relationship. So that.
And like just because you listen to our podcast does not mean like you get the inner workings of our relationship, right?
You get a little bit more than what some people see, but
yeah. But like we talk about our relationship all the time, like we're BDSM educators, right? Like we have whole hour and a half long classes where you can come and learn all of the things that we talk about on our podcast here. But like living it is very different than discussing it.
Correct.
It's like the lived experience versus the educational experience.
Absolutely.
Like you can be book smart, but that doesn't always come to play in street smarts.
Absolutely. All right. So our long form topic for today is going to be how you find out that you're in an MS relationship.
Okay. Well, I'd like to caveat that because we did say that these dynamics in relationships are negotiated and intentional.
Absolutely.
So people don't necessarily, quote unquote, discover they're in a MS dynamic, I would say. I would say that they're probably in some other style of a dynamic that has already been discussed and negotiated. And then it evolves when both people are ready.
Yes. But people also get stuck.
Yeah.
Right? We talk against the de-escalator pillar.
Yes. Well,
right?
I don't necessarily talk about it in the sense of like you can't have an escalation to your relationship because that's natural for humans. I think normal. You should have an escalation to your relationship.
We do that even in vanilla. You're dating or you go on a date, then you're dating.
Well, you're talking.
Yeah.
And then you're dating, and then you're
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, and then you're partners.
Engaged,
yeah,
and then you're married, right?
Yeah,
like there is an escalation in
life has chronological sequence expectations. It's like milestone markers, right?
Correct.
But like you shouldn't feel like a failure because you haven't gotten to a traditional milestone.
Correct. And also in our lifestyle, people have equated it to that if you're play partners, it's like you're dating.
Yeah.
If you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you're now in a DS, some style of dominant submission. And then whenever you're married, you're in an MS. That is not accurate at all. We know plenty of people that are married that keep it as a DS. And that is...
Or that don't have any relationship and they're married and they have dynamics with other people, or maybe they have a play dynamic. It is not one-to-one. No.
And so
I think
rid of that false equivalency.
Well, I think that is like a good topic maybe for another episode, is like the vanilla bleed over
to our life.
To our lifestyle of like power dynamics and pop culture assumptions about BDSM and all of these other things.
Oh, I definitely want to cover pop culture.
Yeah, because like
100%.
because there's so much that actually bleeds over. Like traditional gender roles is something that really heavily bleeds over into our dynamics and relationships.
It does.
Even though we negotiate our relationships a lot of the time, like you end up picking up the pieces that you were given as a child.
Yeah. Sometimes you still do. Yeah. But specifically on this topic, with how we kind of find out that we're in one, we have noticed, especially in the younger generation,
Yes.
that because of the misconceptions of MS, right? The it's not sometimes misconceptions; it's what it's portrayed as. In a lot of cases,
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily what it's portrayed as. It's that perception becomes reality.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, if the only people that you know are in MS relationships,
yes,
and they're 40 plus years in the lifestyle,
yes,
and they look like they're 40 plus years in the lifestyle,
yes,
it equates a certain level of you have to be this tall to ride the ride, and you can't do this from like day 1, day 2, or even year 2.
and it's not just that; it's also the optics of how slaves act.
Yeah.
It's also the optics of how at contest everybody's in full cow.
Yeah.
How
Well, again, that becomes like a vanilla bleed over situation,
it's the vanilla
right?
bleed over, but I wouldn't say that's vanilla bleed over. I think that's within our own community. We have set up these barriers to entry that you can't be a master unless you're covered.
Okay, well,
you can't be a slave unless you give up all of your consent to everything.
Okay, but like, let's say, like, let's turn it on its head and bring it back to like people that are watching this podcast may or may not be aware of the lifestyle and the words that we're using.
The majority of them are, though.
Sure, but like, let's say they're not from an audience perspective. We do the exact same things outside of the community. We make the assumption that someone that looks a certain way and acts a certain way has to be a certain thing.
Yes.
Like someone who's middle-aged is a woman, is portraying very high femme, but like is driving a van and has a car seat in the back.
Soccer
like
mom.
that's a soccer mom, right? Like we have these stereotypes that are built into our societies.
Too. Yeah.
And so if we if we perpetuate stereotypes in unhealthy ways
Correct.
and allow that become a barrier to entry to things, that's where it becomes a problem.
Exactly. And that is what we have noticed, especially with the younger generation in MS.
Yes. And leather in general.
And leather in general. It's the divides of generations. It's generational challenges. It's generational talks. It's generation.
It's the antiquated ideas that it is this way, so it will always be this way.
Correct. The great word of tradition.
Yes.
Yeah. So specifically, we have 2 couples that we know.
I would like to just interject. I fucking love your glasses. The fact that you do this every time just gets me a little moist.
I did get new glasses. I hope everybody likes them.
I picked them out.
You did.
I did the good slavey slave thing.
You did. I haven't gotten to test out the transition function yet, but
they should work. I mean, yeah, they should work pretty well. It's been really rainy and gross
real
here
rainy and
recently.
gross, so I haven't
like
gotten
you
to
probably
try 'em.
won't do Phil this weekend, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But like literally every
I
single
hate
time.
them.
I love that.
I hate them because I have noticed I'm doing this all the freaking
I know, and I get
time.
a little moist
And
every
I keep
time.
taking them off because I have an obsession with clean lenses, and so I keep taking them off to clean them, and it's just
Well, you need a cleaning cloth and spray because that will actually keep them clean versus just wiping them on your dirty ass shirt.
Hey, slave.
Yes, sir.
That'd be a great thing for you to get me.
Sir, I have some.
Okay, that'd be a great thing for you to get me.
Would you like me to get it now?
No, but
Okay.
I'm just saying in general.
Okay. I was like, I can get it now.
No, don't need it now.
Okay.
Just saying, I didn't even know that you had them. So
Did your glasses not come with a cleaning cloth? It's
No, they
usually in
came
the
with
case.
No, they
Yeah,
came
they're
with
usually in the case.
not in the case.
I'm gonna go complain.
Okay, you can complain. That's fine. That's your job. Go for it.
My job is to complain. It's true. For you and other people, my job is to complain.
But specifically in this case,
Yeah.
we have 2 couples that we have noticed this in.
Well, I mean, we've noticed it more, but recently these
The
two,
ones that
yes.
we've had conversations with.
Yes.
One of them, the slave, was very anti being called a slave.
She was very. Are we talking about Barbie?
Yes.
Hi, Barbie. I know you're watching this. And hi, Aaron. We're talking about you. She was very anti-power exchange, not just MS, but very
power exchange.
Power exchange. She was very into like play focused, like very laissez-faire, no structure.
Yes.
Which is very funny coming from Barbie.
Extremely funny coming from Barbie, the control freak. I call her the little control freak all the time. But what was funny for like going through, we've really gotten to know them pretty well over the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. I've known Aaron for a very long time.
So have I.
But,
yeah. But not in this capacity.
Yes, not in this capacity and not in like this type of relationship.
Yeah.
And gotten to know Barbie pretty well over the last 6 months as well, too. And several talks and conversations.
Barbie and I are little carbon copies of one another.
There are a lot of similarity. With her, it was her anti-ness about it was the expectations. Mm-hmm. It was not.
Well, I think it was the removal of like freedom and personhood. It was the expectations that like a slave is seen and not heard.
Yes.
Right. Like we hear that.
Definitely not one of those people.
Well, we hear that constantly, and it's perpetuated a lot of the time.
Yes.
Like I think that.
And that a
less
slave
so
is
now.
always their master's piece.
I'm sorry. I can't lie that well.
No, you can't.
Buttoning up the shirt, that made me uncomfortable.
But the stereotypes that we have put into MS is what was keeping her from it.
Yes.
And what I've always defined slavery as the most dominant people that can run fucking everything. They just can't run themselves.
Mm-hmm. For the most part.
Because that's what I want in a slave.
Yes.
Right? That's also my experience as a slave. I could fucking do anything. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me how to fucking do it. But I'll figure it out. If you want it done a certain way, you better tell me, but don't micromanage me. Just say, hey, I want this done. Cool. I'm going to go do it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest thing. And then like whenever it came to myself, like I'm a great giver of advice. I don't take my own.
I know that.
That was that idea. Sometimes that's still accurate, but it's that same idea. Sometimes it's still accurate. I am way better than I was those years ago. So way better.
Sure, but we should always be striving to be better, sir.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Continuously. I at least know that I'm doing that though.
Fair. Okay, fair. Awareness is number one.
Yes.
Admitting you have a problem is the first step to solving a problem.
Exactly. And on the master side, the thing that I struggled with, I didn't really call myself a master and own that before running. Mm-hmm. I'm very comfortable with Sir, but it took me several years to be.
So that still took you a long time.
Because I kind of default to my military days. If I was enlisted, I worked for a living, like that type of situation. And also, Sir is my father. Like, no, don't call me that. But like being called that as an honorific was always kind of weird.
Yeah. I know. You didn't want me to call you that for the longest time. You had lots of other things that you were fine being called, including Mr.
Yeah, Mr. was fine.
Now it's Mr. Master.
Yes, it's Mr. Master Husband.
Yes, it's Mr. Specifically, the full honorific is Mr. Master Husband.
Yes.
And he knows that is definitely something that I say when I really, really want something.
Yes, it is. It's kind of cute. But Master was also a struggle for me.
Yeah.
Because I have those same stereotypes in my head. One of the things that we're often told about masters, before you could ever be a master, you must master yourself before you can master another.
So what you're saying is there is no such thing as a master, because I don't know anyone in the world that has done
mastered
that.
themselves. In that regard, by that definition, absolutely.
I don't even think like Gandhi has done that.
No, correct.
Or did that.
Is he closer on the path than I am? Absolutely.
Depends on how you define master yourself.
For them, yes.
Yeah.
The other aspect, like the way that I always take it, the definition of a master that I actually appreciate is a master has tried more times than the apprentice the master has failed more times than the apprentice has tried. Mm-hmm. I have done that.
Fair.
I am a sometimes it feels the only thing that I've mastered is the art of failure. That is something that I have tried multiple different things, right? It's that aspect.
Yeah.
There's also the aspect of typically whenever you see masters, and we're saying stereotypically here, there are plenty of masters that once you get them alone and actually get to know them, they're not this way. But at least from a distance, they're very stoic. They're very straight-faced, very like the commanding guy in the corner. That's about it, right? That's not me. I'm not that way.
You have the capacity to be that way.
I do have the capacity to be that
but
way.
you're not regularly that way.
No. I am a very animated person. So it doesn't look that way. And so for me, mastery does not look that way.
For me, slavery doesn't look that way either, because typically slaves are, we have these sort of assumptions, or not assumptions. We have these words like protocol, right? We have like high protocol, low protocol, medium protocol, and that like identifies where you are and what space you're in and how you show up in that space and that expectations of that space. We have a lot of things in the community when we are out and about with one another at these conventions, where we mostly hang out with people that we don't see on a regular basis, that the slave is normally in like high to medium protocol.
Yes.
They don't speak for the most part without being spoken to, and they specifically are spoken to by their top, not like people in the external circle. They don't really look at people. They might be dressed a certain way or be on speaking restrictions.
They're generally behind and to the left.
Yeah.
They're
inaccessible.
Yeah, they're inaccessible. They're also
which
seen,
is not
not heard.
Which is not a bad thing.
No.
But it does create a certain
misconception,
picture and misconception around a slave showing up and like a bottom or a brat or whatever showing up.
Yeah.
And like, if that's how you want to live your life, that's perfectly fine.
If it works for you, go for it.
There are absolutely times that I will put myself into like a high protocol forced I'm in speaking restriction space, because I just don't have the spoons to interact with people that day.
Yeah.
And
they're even oftentimes on like touch restrictions as well.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was thinking in my brain that didn't make it to my mouth. Yeah.
The whole asking to hug. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that I do that anyways, like regardless if I know that you're in protocol.
That's a consent.
Just like a consent thing, especially like post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Or like pre-pandemic. Yeah.
And also there's a lot of people who just have sensory issue type situation. You're sometimes that way where like, I'm just not in the mood to be touched right now.
It's like, I can feel my own skin. I don't want to feel yours.
But that was a I do that still sometimes depending on the master that I'm speaking with, to the master and slave.
I think that I always default to that if I do not know the rules.
I default to the master there. I'm like, do you mind if I hug her?
Yeah.
Or hug them?
If I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I know the rules or I know the person, yeah.
Speaking of that protocol, we just had this situation happen in a different form. Somebody from Canada that is in an MS relationship who we have never met.
Oh, yeah.
Added us on FetLife.
Yeah, they sent us a friend request. So I, on my FetLife, specifically have a note in my bio. Yeah. Well, yes, but I specifically have in my bio, I only accept friend requests from people that I have met.
Yes.
Because, like, there are enough creepy weirdos on FetLife. If you are someone that is a femme-presenting human or have the word slave or bottom messages. Or whatever, you're going to get weird messages, and it's a whole, like, spoon drain to just log on.
Yeah.
But apparently they had sent me a friend request, and I didn't see this.
Correct.
And so they sent him a message and actually apologized.
Yes. They said, I did not see that. Also...
We haven't met,
and so
in
I want to apologize.
Sense,
and sorry, I didn't send you a message before I requested to be a friend with you. I replied to him like, "We know who you are.
We know of you.
We know of you. We haven't met you. We assume that we'll actually get to meet you. That rule is in place for what you just talked about.
That rule is in place for the creepy weirdos.
The creepy weirdos. And your apology is.
Yeah.
I thank you for that. Feel free to re-add her.
Yeah.
So that worked. But that's an example of those protocols that are kind of expected in MS relationships. That is one of those things that kind of happens a whole lot. It's one of those like pillars of protocols.
Honestly, if like I come up to you and I'm like, this person wants to play with me and they need to talk to you, it's like a big red flag of like, I don't want to play with this person.
Well, that's our inner working protocol.
Yes.
That's our inner working protocol.
Yes. It's not like it is never a requirement for you to talk to him. I will respect you more
if you do.
If you do. Just like if you want to do anything with him, I will respect you more if you address me on it.
Yeah.
Because like that's just like a, hey, I recognize that you are in each other's lives. I recognize that you are in a dynamic. I recognize that I am not trying to break up that dynamic because like that's a big stupid that I've been through. And so like that's a trigger for me. So like, but like never get mad at someone because they don't know what your protocols are.
Yeah. But we've gotten off on a tangent here.
Usually.
Getting it back on the rails here, the discovering that you're in an MS with the younger generation, a lot of it actually comes from speaking to those that are in MS relationships.
Yes, that are open and proud and say, this is my master and this is my slave. And they're like, whoa, I've heard about master-slave dynamics, but like, tell me about that. Yeah. How does that work?
Talk to me about it. And it happened with the first couple, it happened with the second couple as well. Yeah. Like, are y'all not in an MS relationship? Because the way that you act, you are.
Yes. I think that someone that is, I believe that people are inherently sort of put on a path, right? Yeah. Like I am a big believer in fate, that if things happen, that's the way that things are supposed to happen. That's a big belief of mine.
Yeah.
And so if somebody is in a dynamic and they are running their dynamic as a MS without calling themselves an MS dynamic because they don't have enough knowledge or experience or whatever, but like they have these things sort of already ingrained in them as a person.
They're going to
maybe they have a military background or, you know, maybe they grew up in a highly patriarchal or matriarchal household. And so they have, you know, these like inner working little chips that are falling into place for their fated dynamic style.
Yep.
That's where I think people discover they're in MS relationships.
Yeah.
Is they already run them like that.
And we kind of talked about this last night after talking with that couple. It's the dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And we talk about it with title holders a lot. Like one of the questions that is often asked in an interview, or at least in the mock interviews.
Well, I would also just say like you want to run for a title. Let's talk about
this is the general advice that I'm giving you, but this is it comes from a question that is generally asked of if you don't win this title,
what changes?
What changes? The correct answer, I'm giving it to you right now. Correct answer is nothing.
Assuming that you are already doing the things.
Wanted. Yeah.
Like we were on a panel recently at an event called Sash Bash, which we can talk about here in just a little bit. Just a little bit. But we were on a panel for title holders and like the power of a sash because it's like a Miss America thing. It's like it's not Miss America, but like it's held to the same sort of pageantry a lot of the time.
Certain ones are, yes, for sure.
And like philanthropic expectations and like a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
The question was, what is your advice to someone who wants to be a title holder and isn't?
Yes, and the advice was you should already be doing everything.
Well, all of these other people these other title holders were saying, and like they've not been in international or larger titles or anything like that. They said like you should be able to make time for your family and be able to make time for these things. Which is extremely valid.
You should absolutely do that.
But like my opinion as someone who has carried international power exchange and Texas power exchange, like
and now Texas MS.
And hopefully Southwest and hopefully international at some point, like you should already be doing that.
Yeah.
Like if you should be already living your life, going to the cons and teaching at the things and volunteering in the capacity that you would be doing as a title holder.
Yes.
Like a title doesn't allow you to do those things.
Yeah. You should already be doing it.
Yeah. Like
if you want to be the change, if you want to see the change, be the change.
Exactly. If not you, then who? If not now, when?
Yeah.
Thank you, goddess.
Well, it's not just TGI. It was also Echo.
Yeah.
Echo did that.
No, they both did.
Echo got me with that one.
But like the thing is like if you're already living your life and you're already accommodating your life for the fact that I have these teaching obligations, I have these volunteering obligations,
Or I wanna do these things,
or I
yeah.
want to do these things, but I also need to make time for one
myself.
weekend a month. I need to, not go to a con. I need to stay home with my kids or my husband or my wife, whatever. You should already be making those accommodations in your life
Before you ever run.
Yeah,
Nothing should
basically,
change.
like nothing should change. You should already be in leadership. You should already be on boards. You should already be out and advocating. You should already be making the change and living
If
your
that's
life.
going to be your platform, yeah, you should be.
But I mean, like,
Whatever your platform is, that's what you should already be doing.
I agree. But like, even if you're,
But I'm not going to say that you should already be out teaching because not every title is a teaching title. I'm not.
but I
gonna
mean,
say
you should
that
be teaching in a mentoring capacity. You should like
Don't
teaching
even say
in any
that.
regard.
I don't even say that. The reason that I like even let's take the stand and model titles.
Okay, fair.
Okay, stand and model titles. Those are not teaching titles.
No,
They are not. They're not philanthropy titles. Often it involves them,
Yeah.
right? But it's not inherently what they are, right? It's not.
yeah, but that's
It's-
kind of where the expectation of any title has gone is that you're
It's
going to use it
kinda,
to
but-
educate in some capacity.
I don't think so.
Even if you're going to educate just about
I
the
don't think
event.
so. Let's take a bar title. A bar title is not for education. A bar title is to draw more attention to the bar.
But you're still going to educate about the bar and
You're
the
going to
events
educate
that
about
are
the bar.
there
So
and
you
advocacy.
need to be a sociable person
Yeah.
that goes out and does those things. You
Correct.
need to go to all the gay bars. You need to
Yeah.
meet other people. You need to be a sociable person.
Yeah,
You should
but you
already
still
be doing
need to
that
be already taking time
for yourself.
for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you are waiting for your title to like
Yeah,
get
that's-
burnt out and be like, now I need to take time for myself. Like you've
Then
done
you-
this backwards.
Then you become the wuzzy that just is the title and then disappears.
That's why people disappear after their title for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because they're just like burnt to shit.
And
'Cause they did too much.
I am a big believer in it's a lot easier to go from 8 to 11
Yeah.
than it is from 0 to 11.
Yeah. Depending on the person.
But think about it as an adult. If you are this
yeah.
is a
It's
marathon
le-
race.
it's
This is
less-
not a sprint.
Yeah, no, it's less work, but like some people
You can manage it a lot better if you're at a constant 8 where
Yeah.
that is my normal.
yes.
I add on a title now, which means that I have to adhere to a couple more things, and I
Yeah.
have to now go to a con.
I now
that
have
wasn't
paperwork I
planning
need
on.
to fill out.
Yeah, and I have a con that I have to go to that I wasn't planning on, and
Yeah.
now I have to be in this Facebook group where I talk to
Yeah.
everything. Like that. That's going from 8 to 11 versus
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, I have a title now, so I have to be at everything because I haven't been at anything before.
Yeah.
That's the 8 to 11.
Yep.
Like
Agreed.
we had already had obligations through almost the entire year before we ever got the title.
Yep. Nothing would have changed.
Nothing would have changed. We added one con.
Yeah.
That's all that we added.
Yep.
And it's the one that we're competing at.
Yes.
That's
Which
it.
we were probably potentially going to go to that one
Anyway, but-
because we wanted to compete for Southwest before Texas became a thing
Yes.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that aspect of you should already, and taking that back to the MS aspect, you should already be living your life kind of in that way.
Yeah.
The only thing that changes at that point is the title.
Now you have a patch.
But with MS,
Yeah.
now you're a master, now you're a slave. That's the only thing that changes. If you're already living your relationship that way,
You change your honorifics and your expectations obviously are going to change around those honorifics.
yes, yeah. But it
It's like you should have a loose outline for what you would like your MS to be. And then when you discover, I'm already living this loose outline, let's tighten and hone it.
yeah, tighten and hone it. And with that, like in discovering your MS, and once you make that decision to become MS, right? We went through this. Because of those inherent things within MS, the high protocols, those type of situation, you start wanting to add things to it, right? You start wanting to have a protocol around all sorts of things, depending
Well, I
on
think
the person.
I think it goes back to intentionality.
Yes,
It's that
you're wanting to
it's-
live it with intention.
But I think that an MS relationship has an expectation of more intentionality
Yes, yeah.
and more negotiation. It's like,
Which it does have inherently,
yeah,
but
than like a DS or something that is
Correct.
more laissez-faire.
yes. But where I find people kind of mess up with that is they start putting in protocols that are not serving them.
Yes, they do it for the aesthetic,
Yes.
which The aesthetic is absolutely fine, but like it's not going to feed you for very long.
It's not going to feed you for very long. You're going to get burnt out on that protocol.
Yeah.
Our example that we often use is I was a smoker.
Can I use a different example?
If you have another one, yeah, go for it.
So with Phoenix, remember the curtsy one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So my other partner Phoenix, he wanted to feel like when he got home that I was excited to see him because I was like on the couch or like watching TikTok or something. Reminder, he and I worked completely different schedules and he would not get home till like 11 o'clock at night. So like I am like winding down for bed at this point.
I would like to use one from our relationship, not one from your past relationship.
That's fine. We can do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And that one, the easiest one for that is the cigarette.
Sure. But I used to have to curtsy.
Yeah, you just have to curtsy, and that wasn't serving you or serving him. It was weird, and
it was
didn't
painful
happen.
and uncomfortable, and it was just for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it didn't last very long.
But a protocol that is often, especially with anybody that's a smoker, is lighting the cigarette, right?
Not cigar service, because that has like tradition and like
And I love
protocol, and yeah, that's a whole different thing.
I love that because that's a show at that point, right?
But you don't. But I think that you would feel equally annoyed if you were like a regular cigar smoker.
Yeah, I'm an occasional. Yeah, a couple times a month type.
Yeah, but that
But cigarettes, I was a daily smoker and was a multi-pack a day smoker.
Yes.
Right. And so I have my own traditions built in with that.
Your own self protocols and rituals.
Self protocols and rituals with that.
Yeah.
And my own inherent things in it that I like, right? So one of the protocols that we put in place was that you would light my cigarette whenever we were around each other.
We didn't live together at the time.
And even when we lived together.
Yeah.
And it quickly became
You light my first cigarette.
It quickly became a kind of an annoyance because I would chain smoke, especially if I was like doing something or we were talking, and I would just like not even think about it.
Yep.
At first, not even think about it. Like just pick up another one and go. Right. You are feeling that I stole your job.
Oh yeah, no, it built resentment.
Yeah, it can build resentment because I'm not allowing you to do the protocol that I put in place.
Yes, and I told you about how I was not feeling like. I communicated because no inside thoughts, right? I communicated, hey, you're taking my job.
Yeah.
And I am feeling really, really invalidated right now. And you are way too wrapped up in the fact that you need a cigarette right now. And so like for a long time, you weren't really hearing me.
Well,
and you didn't replace that protocol for a while.
Yeah. But for me, it was like, it's just a fucking cigarette. Like
it didn't mean as much to you as it did
mean
me.
as much as it did to you. And then it went to, okay, you like my first one.
Yep.
Okay.
Then we adapted it and we tried to change it to where I lit his first cigarette instead of everyone.
And then I don't remember what it was specifically, but
I couldn't get the lighter lit.
You couldn't get the lighter lit. I was stressed out of my freaking head.
Yeah.
And I was like, just give me the fucking cigarette.
Yep.
And I just did it. And you got dejected and you were very upset.
Oh yeah, no. I went to go do a sob in the corner.
Yeah. And for me, it was like, it's a fucking cigarette, right? Like, that's how I'm feeling. Like, it's just a fucking cigarette. I do this all the fucking time. I also really enjoy that first puff.
Yeah.
Like, I like that first hit, especially whenever I'm wound up, right? Like, that's that ritual of, okay, deep breath, right? We ended up doing away with that because it wasn't serving us.
Yes. But it would have been a lot better if we had talked about it before he took the job of like, hey, this isn't serving me and I would like to replace it with this. Yep. If you had come at it with like the same intentionality or like the same feeling that I had of like, she feels really valuable when she does this. And if I take this from her, she's not going to feel as valuable because we had a whole conversation about it. So like if you're going to modify your protocols,
you need to have
talk to your partner about why you're modifying them. Don't just take their job.
But what I'm getting to that is you are going to end up doing that.
Yes. Do it.
You are going
do it intentionally.
No, you are going to take their job because one of you does not have as much value in it as the other. This was a thing with me and Lily.
Yeah.
Lily wanted me to write in a journal. No, I don't want to do that. That does not serve a purpose for me. And so I didn't do it. And she'd be like, well, why haven't you written in your journal? I was like, I don't have the time or the spoons to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's not serving I don't have a prompt. I'm not a daily journal person.
Yeah.
And sitting down to fucking write whenever I could be watching TV, no thanks. Or I could be decompressing somewhere else, no thanks. Or I could be practicing fire, no thanks. Like I'd rather be doing something than sitting down and writing in a journal. That became a point of contention for us for a little while until we developed a different protocol of instead of journaling, we're going to sit down and talk for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that got the same aspect that she wanted, where she wanted to have that inner working thought connection thing with me on what my thoughts and feelings
That's a lot
were.
of the time why slaves are made to journal is because they want the inner workings of thought on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had you do that for a little bit, but I gave you specific prompts.
You did.
Or
you made me read a book and then write about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I
You didn't give me this open-ended question.
having no direction, I know drove me fucking nuts. And
Yeah.
so I transferred that over to you. It was like, okay, you're off. I'm at work.
Well, think about it like a multiple choice question versus like an open-ended question on a
Yeah.
test. One of those is going to require a lot more time and energy than like having these sort of like outlined, these could be the answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so it was like, read this book. I've read it. I'm very curious what your thoughts are on this aspect, right? And then we would talk about it. You did that with like one of your scenes that you wanted to do. I had it in a specific category so that I could then read it later.
It had intentionality.
Yes, it wasn't just open-ended.
Yeah.
I think that is important for people to remember whenever they're making their protocols.
Yes.
You need to have them with intention. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to make protocols that have no intentionality in them.
Yes. And like
Doesn't mean that you're a failure.
And like my thought process on this is like don't add too much too quickly because you're setting yourself up for failure. So like Beast and Echo, they started with like I think like 35 or 40 rules or something, and then Echo would break one just to test and see if Beast remembered which one it was.
Yep.
And so because he had to tell her, "Oh, you've broken rule number blah blah blah," and she would break them. And then he'd be like, "You've broken rule number 31." And she's like, "That's rule number 37."
Yeah, that type of situation. Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even know the protocol, so why the fuck should I? And so like our kind of running rule is like, don't do more than like 3 at a time. Start with 3, figure out if that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, like readdress it, reassess it. But like give it time. Yeah. It's going to be uncomfortable at first.
Your
like,
habit
don't
building.
Just exactly. I think they say it takes like
21 days.
21 days to build a habit.
Yep.
So like if you're going to do a daily protocol, give it at least 3 weeks.
Yep, give it at least 3 weeks.
And then check in at the end of the month.
Also, don't be afraid to do away with protocols that aren't serving you anymore, even though you've been doing them for a long time.
Mm-hmm. If it has become a habit and not intentional, it needs to either be reassessed and like revamped in some way, or it needs to be completely gotten rid of.
Basically, it's the don't become stagnant rule. That is one of our like overarching find comfort in discomfort.
Yes, be constantly moving forward to be better. Yes,
don't become stagnant. One of the things that we got stagnant on was coffee.
I would say the consistent making of the coffee, but like every single time I make your coffee, it is intentional.
Now,
I do not make your coffee on a consistent basis.
Correct, because you used to. You used to make it for me every day.
I used to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yep.
to make you coffee because you were going to work at 5:30.
Yep.
I didn't have work until 8.
Yep.
So I wake up 2 hours early,
Yep.
and then I'm just like, I can't go back to bed now.
Yeah. And it started causing issues.
It was a point of contention.
It became a point of contention because we were staying up till late, and then you're having to get up.
Yeah,
early
it was like midnight, and I was waking up at 5:30, and it's like you can run on like these 2 hours of sleep. I cannot.
Correct. But it became a point of contention. But then even like I occasionally bring it. I now tell you whenever I want coffee. We adjusted it to where I want coffee, but I only do it maybe 2-3 times a week, maybe.
Yeah. Recently more because you've been working from home, and like sometimes like I make your coffee pretty much every weekend.
Yes,
at least one day on the weekend.
At least one day on the weekend, you make me coffee. But also something. Sometimes I make coffee for you.
Sometimes, yeah.
And that's not taking your job.
No, because for me, what is important about making the coffee is not necessarily the coffee.
Yes.
It's the love and intention that I put into it. And so like, I know exactly how you take your coffee. I know exactly how many Splendas that you put in it. I know exactly the cream to coffee ratio. Like becoming an expert in my partner's desires is what makes me a slave.
Yeah.
It's that I want to be a subject matter expert in everything that makes you happy.
Yeah. And we had the same thing with the espresso. Whenever we got the espresso machine, you taught me how to use it. And I occasionally make it for both of us. In my opinion, you make it better. But that's just because you become subject matter experts in those things. There's a reason we have 3 freaking coffee makers.
It's true. It's based on the amount of spoons that I have that day.
Yes.
But what I was going to say about going back to your coffee is like the intentionality that I put into it is like for every packet of Splenda, I put like I am devoted to you.
Yeah.
I am this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm like intentionality for the day.
You
it's
have
like
your own
I'm
ritual in
manifesting
it.
the coffee. Yeah. Like I manifest our day in the coffee.
Yeah. And that's not something that I told you to do. That was something that you put into it. Something that I told you to do was count how many chains were in your collar. Do you know how many?
How many chains?
How many links? Remember whenever I told you to count how many links were in your collar?
Yes, but I didn't understand that question.
Do you know how many are in there?
Are you talking about individual rings?
Yes.
No.
You don't.
No.
Do you know how many links as far as like sections? Because whenever I made
Do you
that
mean
collar,
braids?
so the
Because
link
like I
itself is
never actually
specific
understood this,
section.
and I've asked you multiple times. Are you going to explain it now after
can,
3
yeah,
years?
yeah.
Okay.
So you can feel a gap as you work it.
Oh, you can?
You can feel a gap.
Oh,
you can feel a
okay.
specific gap. It's about every quarter of an inch.
Okay.
That is a link.
Oh,
Okay.
that was not what I was defining as a link.
Whenever
I thought it meant rings. I was like, how am I supposed to count how many rings are
that
in this?
would be very difficult for you to do.
That's why I have failed the last 3 years.
That's fair.
Welcome to
There we go.
welcome to our relationship. I have literally felt like a failure for 3 years because you told me to do something, and I was like,
You
I misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
right? Because
Yeah.
like a link to someone that doesn't do chainmail is like these little tiny rings, and it's like
Each individual ring. Yeah,
you've
no, that'd
done
be
this
lot.
as a sadistic situation. I will never figure this out. I could take it off and take it apart, but that would be breaking so many other rules.
Oh, so many other rules. Yeah. But whenever I made your collar, I put intention into it. I made your collar.
You did. You finished it on my neck.
I did. I finished it on your
It
neck.
goes all the way around,
All the
and
way
it
around.
has no, like a lot of people have locks that can be removed.
Yep. You do
Mine
not.
would have to be broken.
I have to break that collar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I may upgrade you at some point, but I haven't yet. Also, I thought about putting that on a swivel, specifically the pendant,
Yeah, I know. So that it didn't move.
so that
It stayed,
it
stayed
could
flat.
rotate. It
Yeah.
could rotate while the chain itself
So
rotated.
it stayed flat.
But I like adjusting it. I like whenever it flips because then I reach over and adjust it, and that's intentional. I have the slip rings for it to just roll. I'm not putting them on there.
No, because it gets like it flips over like this and gets all like fucky,
Yeah, and I just reach over,
and then he
twist
reaches over and just goes
it, twist it,
and
get
twists
to
it and
get
gets
to fall in
it
place.
to fall into place.
Yeah,
Just like he twists me and I fall into place.
yeah. I like twisting you.
Okay, but like now, tell me, I need to know how many links are in my collar. But now I know how to.
Now you know how to figure it out.
Maybe.
You can at least get somewhere close.
Oh, this is difficult.
If you get close, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But I mean, that's just a good example of putting intentionality into what you do, and putting it into everything that you do in your relationship,
Well,
even your protocols.
I think that it's a great like segue into BDSM for relationships versus like unintentional vanilla relationships, right? Like Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah,
That is like one of the most intentional, non-intentional days of the year.
yep,
It's like if you haven't asked your partner to be your Valentine yet,
yep,
you're late.
yeah,
Do it now.
yeah.
Call a florist. Don't go to HEB and get flowers. Call a florist. Just go get flowers.
See, and I
Or
told
whatever
you,
matters to you. Like we do a chocolate roulette.
We do
is what we
chocolate
do.
roulette. That's what we established that
roulette.
because
What's that called?
the medley or whatever it is.
You know the thing that you roulette, right? You shoot it got in the air.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
it's not in the air, but yeah. Roulette is at your head. That's roulette.
Roulette is also the card game that does the spinny wheel.
Yes.
But what I'm thinking about is the like shotgun roulette, where you shoot it in the air and then you like hope the bullet doesn't fall on you.
No, baby. That's what you do with lawn darts. Roulette is one chamber is loaded.
Oh, right. And then you
Spin it, and
Okay.
then you...
Okay. But isn't there also a game of roulette where you shoot a bullet in the air and then...
No, that's what you do with lawn darts. Lawn darts you toss up in the air, and the last person standing there wins.
Well, yeah, that game was outlawed in like
It's
the
like
90s.
roulette, but yeah.
The big giant lawn darts that
Yeah.
literally killed people. Yeah, that game was outlawed a long time ago.
Yeah.
You can't find it anymore.
No, you can find it on eBay. Yeah.
Don't think it's as much as the stabbies.
It's got a spike on it that's like that long.
I know. That's why it like went off the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways.
You were going somewhere with roulette. Oh,
I was just saying
Valentine's
that.
Day.
Yeah. So like,
But what I was
We're
going to say with
intentional.
yours, what I was going to say with your to Valentine's Day, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. One, your birthday is 3 days before it.
it is. My birthday's on the 11th.
Yes, but because it's become such a commercialized thing,
A Hallmark holiday.
Hallmark holiday, that we do flowers just because. And I don't do them on Valentine's Day. It's whenever I'm in Walmart, I happen to see something that I think is pretty. I bring it home to you and sometimes NBC. And just because I was thinking about you.
Yeah.
And we have our intentionality in whenever I go to the gas station. And I buy you your favorite snack just because I was thinking about you.
Even if I forget to eat it and then you eat it later.
Yeah, that happens. But it's the intentionality of the little things too. It's
Well,
what
it's the
little
intent.
things show with
It's the intentionality of you knowing what my favorite candy is without asking.
you. Yeah.
It's the intentionality of you going to Walmart and being like, okay, I know that we need this thing because I left the house and I looked before I went to Walmart. I'm not going to ask her on what aisle it's on. I'm a grown ass adult.
I can figure it out. Yeah. Yeah.
And if I get it wrong,
I have a
she's
Walmart app.
Still
Yeah.
yeah. But like the thing is like what people don't realize is like even if you get it wrong, your partner will appreciate the effort
That you tried.
that you tried.
Yeah.
Like
I've done that plenty of times.
I
Gotten
will-
the wrong chips or gotten the wrong tortillas or
that's fine.
wrong beans,
But
whatever.
like I can roll with that. If you fucking call me and ask me, I'm in the grocery store, where are the tortillas? There are signs.
Yeah. Then
Don't
it becomes
fucking ask
annoyance.
me.
Yeah.
It's like I shouldn't have to tell you where tortillas are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Figure
you
it
get
out.
the wrong tortillas, okay, cool. Still tortillas.
Yeah, still tortillas. Still able to do something with them. Yeah. Generally, whenever I go to the store with you, we end up getting a whole lot more than what we were going there for anyway.
Well, that's your reward for going to the store.
That was a good boy.
Yes, sir, because you were a good boy.
That's how I got oatmeal cream pies. That's how we got parfait things. That's how I got Tromix. That's how.
No, we went there for those things. You got chocolate covered Oreos.
Yes.
You got oatmeal
butter
cream
cookies
pies and
oatmeal
peanut
cream
butter
pies.
cookies.
Yeah.
So you're just like diabetes on a roll.
Well, you made me go to the store whenever I was hungry.
I didn't know you were hungry. I wasn't hungry.
I was hungry.
You didn't communicate you were hungry until you were putting cookies in the cart. Just like going to the store while hungry was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe you should have communicated that. Eat a snack.
All right. So let's go ahead and I think that was a good kind of overview of that section. Yeah. Let's get into your favorite time of the night.
No, it's not. It's your favorite time of night. There's
no,
a
it's
song.
not. No.
Yeah, it is.
What's the song?
Master's favorite time of night.
Which is where we let
The fates decide.
the fate decide questions.
Until we have viewership questions, we have TikTok.
Yeah, no, we'll probably still do this even when we have viewership questions.
Probably
but
less,
I think it's
though.
still good.
Okay. So I sent them to you so I could find it again.
Oh, did you?
Oh, Tristan sent me Bird sent me a video of possums.
Oh, nice.
Okay. What is your favorite thing about yourself?
My favorite thing about myself.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing about myself.
What is your favorite thing about yourself? These questions are a little different today.
They are. My favorite thing about myself.
Yeah.
I think I would have to go with my always asking why, and in like every aspect. It's why I'm so creative, because I see something, I'm like, how did they do that? Okay, I can do that.
Your engineering brain.
Yeah, it's also, why does this particular wire work on that damn AC? Like I like tinkering.
So it's your inquisitive tinkering.
Yeah, and it's not just that, it's also in people's heads.
That's fair.
I love asking you, why do you feel that way? Or why is that your reaction? Why do we do certain things in our relationship the way that we do them?
Intentionality. That's the word of this episode.
It
The
is.
word of the day, brought to you by Blow and Hookers, is intentionality.
All right.
I don't
I'll
know.
take those sponsors.
I don't know.
It's intentionality,
It's
but-
just the first thing that popped in my brain.
No, it's a good one.
Brought to you by the vinyl wall of cricket,
Yes, yeah.
or the vinyl wall of vinyl.
The vinyl wall of vinyl?
Yeah, that.
The wall of vinyl, I think is what you mean.
Sure,
But,
that. Yes, the wall of vinyl
yeah. There you go. What about you?
is intentionality. My favorite thing about myself.
Yeah.
My ability to relate to people.
In what way?
I think that, moving back to intentionality, when I notice that somebody is behaving in a certain way, I can pull out of them questions and like help them get, like, I want to be a therapist for like a really, really long time.
Yeah.
I really enjoy like the psychology of humanity. I really enjoy like, why do people run their dynamics this certain way? Like, how does that feed them? What is the source of that? And like helping people get to like a better understanding of themselves, and in turn getting to a better understanding of myself.
Yeah.
So
No,
like
that's
my ability to
completely
relate to
fair.
people.
That's completely fair. I think that's a great answer. And yeah, I like that about you too.
Thank you.
Okay. What's the next one?
Who shaped your life in the most significant way?
Oh. Who shaped my life in the most significant way? If I was to say who shaped my life now in the most significant way, I would say the children.
Okay.
Because I feel that there are like probably 5 major like books of my life, right? There's
Chapters.
yeah. There's the before 9/11. There's 9/11 till graduating. There's my time in the military. There's my entrance into the BDSM community and all of that craziness until I moved to Houston. And then now it's after I got my kids. And this is by far the best arc that I have ever been on. Like, this is the best chapter of my life.
As one of our friends pointed out today, you're in your best evolution as a Pokemon.
Yes.
You've reached your legendary evolution.
Yes. I hope not. I hope there's something better. But
You can be a super shiny legendary.
yeah.
But you've at least reached your legendary.
I'm at least at my legendary, and I'm very happy for all those other chapters, because they made me who I am today. But like, as far as like what shaped this chapter,
Yeah.
those kids up there. What about you?
Probably my grandmother.
I can see that.
Honestly, my grandmother.
Why?
She taught me it was okay to have a voice, and that it was okay to let people think that you're dumb because you're not.
The let them mentality.
Exactly.
I like that mentality.
She was very like, you met her.
I did.
very briefly before she passed.
Yes.
Not like you didn't have a whole lot of time to spend in her life, but she had a very like stoic mentality in the everybody can be affected, but I am not.
She straight up told me she called me Steve
Yeah.
first time that we met. And you were like, no, Grandma, this isn't Steve. This is my other boyfriend. She goes, you got two? I liked her. She was very much like, oh, there you go.
One of the like best stories that she ever told me was that she had multiple boyfriends in high school and in college, but they didn't know about each other. And I was like, can you imagine? I was like, I'm like, Grandma, can you imagine? Like, no, I asked her one day, I'm like, Grandma, can you imagine how good your life would have been if you had just had ethical boundaries and told your partners about each other like I do and did? And like, she knew I was poly for like, or at least I had multiple partners. I don't identify as polyamorous, but that I had multiple partners from like the time I was like a freshman in high school. And she's like, I did that as a kid, but we didn't talk about it.
Different age.
It was like different generation, Grandma. Like we're ethical in the way that we show up in our relationships now.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, at least. All right, cool.
You like these questions?
What's the next one? Yeah, I'm not mad at these ones.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this in a 2-part.
Okay.
So the part of this one is, what does it mean to be a good man to you? Or a good leader?
So what it means to be a good man to me kind of falls back on...
So you've had this conversation with our son.
I have. Above all, protecting what's yours. Mm-hmm. There's a lot in that. There's a lot to protecting. Mm-hmm. It's not just being defensive. It's not just, fighting for. It's not well, that. It's also providing. Mm-hmm. It's providing what you can when you can. It's being there. It's taking care of. It's being a part. There's a lot to it. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's what it is. As far as being a man, as far as being a good leader, it's the ability to motivate others. A leader leads from the front. A leader is not a boss. Mm-hmm. A leader is a member of the team who just so happens to motivate others to do something. Mm-hmm. That's the difference for me.
So in that same vein, what do you believe is a quality that makes you a good master? And do you believe that you're a good master?
I struggle with it, but yes.
Okay.
Because I always...
I think you're a good master, but I'm biased.
That's my self-doubt, which we all have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
I do think I am a good master. Like, overall, overarching, yes. Have I fucked up? Plenty of fucking times. But overall, I know I am because you're still here. But...
that is a cheat sheet.
It's a cheat sheet. But as far as, like, the other aspects that I know is we're happy. Mm-hmm. If we're happy, we're talking, we're enjoying our life together, then I know I'm doing it right.
Fair enough.
What about you? I guess what does it mean to be a good woman to you? Or we'll go with
I'm gonna say a good person.
Yeah, person, because you're non-binary.
Yeah.
I call you she, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, that's because I present my most femme to you. Yeah. I don't present that to everybody else.
Correct.
That's a safety aspect again.
Yes.
So you are the only person that is really allowed to call me she. Other people will because they hear you do it, but like I correct them.
Yes, I correct them.
I don't correct you.
They. Yeah. I correct others, but no, you are.
It is a gift to be in my feminine around you.
Yes.
It is not everyone's
And
gift.
I don't take that for granted.
Yes. So my being a good person, it goes back to me around integrity and vulnerability. I don't like authenticity.
Okay.
My definition of a good person is a person that moves through life and does not just care about how they can benefit. It is someone that sees the best version of people and helps them achieve that by whatever means that they can.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and kind of start wrapping this up. Let's go with. Let's talk about where
We're going to be and where we've been.
where we've been and where we're gonna be and where we're going. So what did we do this past weekend?
So we just got finished up this past weekend in Austin, Texas, at Texas Sash Bash. It is a event for all of the local Texas title holders to come together.
You say local, but it's all of Texas, which is like 8 hours in every direction.
Okay, it's local for Texas.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you measure it in time and not miles, it's local.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's literally it's literally like, oh yeah, if it takes 4 hours or less, it's local.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But Sash Bash, just kind of explain what it is. This is its first year. They plan on doing it in multiple years. We talked with Louise about that.
Yeah, every January is the expectation.
And it's typically a Sash Bash is title holders teaching actual title holders or prospective title holders.
Yeah.
Those that are interested in being title
It's
holders.
a title holder focused event. So basically it's current or previous title holders teaching, holding panels, and sharing space with one another, along with people that maybe are interested in title or interested at least in the classes or the panels that are being offered. And
also a good
typically it's like
fundraiser.
a fundraiser or philanthropic event.
Yeah. And it was fantastic. We really, it was our first like official event as Texas MS. We did go to Vision, but we were there.
It was the first one that
as
we attended
sponsors.
in that capacity.
Yeah. This one we attended specifically in our MS
Yeah, we didn't
title.
teach at Vision. We didn't do any sort of
But we
volunteering. We just attended.
We just attended, but we were also there as sponsors.
Yeah,
with
we sponsored
club
the
and
event as the
everything
club.
else. So that was more of a club event versus a specific Texas MS event. This was
It was in
first.
our title year, but it was not like focused on our title.
Correct. This was focused on our title. We really loved it. I felt there's a validation in it
Yes.
for sure. The whole aspect of being recognized by your
Community.
well, not just community, but I would say your counterparts.
Your peers.
Your
Yeah.
peers, because oftentimes, and we talked about this on some of the panels, was there's sash blindness.
Yes.
Right.
Same thing happens with celebrities, politicians. You stop seeing the person and you just see the responsibility
Or the position.
or the position. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a camaraderie between title holders. One, because you're pretty much pre-vetted. You're in that place for a reason, right?
Yeah. Someone had to allow you to have that.
Yeah.
It's like
And
a judges
continue to
panel,
allow you to
and
have
you
that.
haven't gotten like that taken away from you.
Yeah.
So you haven't done anything to like break the unspoken rules of the community.
Correct. Yeah.
Or the spoken rules,
so you're-
rather.
But also that whole sash blindness of like people only see the position. You have that camaraderie to where that you bypass that, right?
Correct. You also like bypass the small talk and like the getting to know you.
Correct, yeah.
A lot of the time also, because a lot of the time we've done a lot of that online
Yeah.
also, because we frequent the same like see you in the Facebook comments.
Yeah.
That was like a running
Such
joke
a
this
good
weekend.
roast. Yeah.
But like you circumnavigate a lot of that versus like people that are coming to your classes if we're teaching,
Yes.
right? We're like the subject matter experts on the thing, and we have to
Yeah.
continue being the subject matter experts for the rest of that convention.
Yeah. But at this, there's so many of us, and we were able to rub shoulders and bump elbows and talk like on a real level that we don't often get.
There was concerted time and effort made to like sit down and have intentional time.
Yes,
There's
which
that
we
word again.
definitely want to do more of with a lot of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all like in the same city. That's the
A
weird
lot
part.
of us are. A lot of
A
us
lot
are.
of us
That
are
was a-
from Houston,
a
but
weird
like
thing that we
have
noticed.
titles outside of Houston because there's only a couple titles here. It's like some people have titles in Austin or Dallas, or
yeah.
like
And
the
they
Rio
live in
Grande.
Houston.
Yeah, it's like, but you live here.
Yeah, that was weird. Coming up next month, we will be in the Valley.
Well, this upcoming weekend,
Oh yeah, this
we
upcoming
have
weekend, we have the
international person of leather, Mara.
Mara.
They will be gracing us with their virtual presence.
Yes.
So
Whenever this episode is released, they're probably actually talking.
yes, yeah. So you'll like we're probably busy doing that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be talking about their leather journey and how those things have shaped them in their BDSM life.
Yep.
And their life as a person in general.
Yep.
Mara is very big. What I like about Mara a lot is that Mara is very big on the person,
Yes.
not the sash.
Absolutely. Very big on the person, not the sash. Then later that month, we will be in the Valley.
You're forgetting my favorite thing.
Your birthday?
Well, that also is happening, but no, on Saturday.
Oh, we're going to a party.
Yeah, we're going to a private 301 dark party.
Yeah.
And we get to play and do our fun fuckery that we don't get to do in many public spaces. So I'm really excited. And if yesterday's company was any indication of the company we're in for, I'm really excited.
It's going to be great. Yeah. And then later in the month, in
Yes.
February, and I've tried to say this 3 times now, we are at RGV Bear, Rio Grande Valley Bear,
Yes.
where they have Mr. Rio Grande Valley Leather Contest, vendor markets.
It's out in McAllen.
Several of
It's
our
like a
fellow...
2-3 day event.
Yeah, several of our fellow title holders are going to be there as well, and we are teaching.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that. This is its 3rd year, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then right after that, at the beginning of March, we are teaching for MSC Worldwide.
Yes, which we'll link below because it is an online only event. Not MSC, as some of you may be aware of. It's MSC Worldwide. It's the online version of Master Slave Conference.
No matter where you are, you are able to attend as long as you purchase tickets. They even have classes in Spanish and French.
Yes, and they also have classes recorded. So if you can't
catch all
attend,
of them.
because it's Friday through Monday.
Yes.
So like if you're working or you're unable to attend, you can have like a limited time to access the classes. And so
we are doing the cigar social.
yep, we'll have this similar setup, but outside or maybe in the library.
Yeah. I'm going to do it set up as like a stream to where I can kind of switch between the different cameras type situation. That's my thought. And then we are teaching our MES and MS class.
Correct.
On Sunday.
Which this is a class that I really, really appreciate. And we kind of brainchild together.
It is literally our
yeah, go put
I'm trying to think of it. It's our kind of our platform and
our
our
motto.
catchphrase. Our platform and our catchphrase for our title, the MES and MS.
Yeah.
It's kind of bringing down some of those walls.
Yeah, so like people that have been in the community forever, people that literally are not in the community but have these preconceptions. It basically talks about the juxtaposition of how pop culture misinforms
Yes.
when we come into the community.
Correct.
And how we can show up a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. How we can let down our walls.
Yep.
How we can have a pantsless podcast.
We're not wearing pants. I left that face.
Then we'll be at South Plains, and actually something coming up that I'm really excited for. I was actually just asked.
This is not till August.
Yes, I know, but I'm excited about it.
You
You're
are.
excited about the party. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the party too, but I'm like I'm honored.
You bought a dog cone. I don't know if I'm excited about the party.
That's gonna be fun.
I'm concerned.
But I have been asked to attend a men's Leatherman,
A male
kinky,
identifying,
and male identifying event in Canada.
In Canada.
And be their only presenter and their like featured guest for the weekend. I am stupid excited about it. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Slave has to get your passport.
Yes, but men's mental health and men's sharing, male identifying, whatever men spaces are important to me. Especially there's a lot of lot of toxic masculinity type stuff that can be broken down.
A lot of that
whenever-
perpetuates into our community, and we try really, really hard to not let that happen.
Exactly. And so men having those safe spaces to share that helps break that down.
Destigmatizing it.
Destigmatizing it, allowing it to kind of flow naturally.
Well, I think that we do a really shit job of encouraging men and boys
To be vulnerable.
and to be intentional and to like have emotions beyond anger.
Correct.
Right? Like that's the only thing that again pop culture portrays.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you to have that space
I think it's
and
gonna
share
be
that
great.
space with others.
I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And actually, the person that gave me this shirt is one of the people that will be there. So thank you, Dean.
Shout out to Dean.
And other than that, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that you hit the subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. If you're watching this on TikTok,
Remember to interact from the bottom up. Again, that's the bottom up.
if you do have any questions, if you have stories that you want to share, if you have any questions that you want to ask of us, please feel free to reach out to us either in the comments below or email us at, where's it at?
Right here on your new glasses.
On my new glasses. The empowered dynamic at gmail.com.
Double E, double D.
Double E, double D. And we'll
Beer run.
Oh, God. You want to close us out?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Remember to keep it kinky, consensual, kind, and intentional. And thanks for all the fish.
All right. Y'all have a good night, guys.